Hi guys. So on today's demo, I'm just going to take you guys through on an application that I built for HR. It's basically a onboarding tool. I was approached by HR a while ago, where they had asked me to sort of develop an automated process to obviously eliminate and cut away the manual interventions that they would have to go through when onboarding a new employee within the company. So I went and I created a Power App, which has all the functionality that they needed. And then from, obviously the data that's collected, they are then also going to be able to, sort of build some analytical visuals, to pick up on certain trends and insights in terms of depending on what it is that they need, whether they want to look at, how many people have been employed within a certain period, who belong within a certain ethnic group, etc., etc. So, there's a whole lot that can be done with the data, and that too I am currently working on in the back end from a Power BI perspective. But for the purpose of today's session, I'm just going to take you guys through on this very innovative application that I built. So they would obviously, have the link, and once they click on that link, it will then, redirect them to this particular app. It would launch this. I'll just say refresh over there because I just made some changes earlier. So it was just a notification to say to myself that, or rather to say to me, there were new changes which were made, and in order to have those in effect within my view, I just needed to refresh quickly. But anyway, so this tool, the nice thing about it is that it's not only for HR. It's going to be one of the portals that we use within the business space. And from here, people are going to be able to, click on certain tabs that would redirect them to, the various offerings that HR has for the company. So, for instance, what you see over there on the left is all the different tabs, which will obviously direct one to all the different needs and tasks. So one, for instance, if it's a regular user that logs onto this particular portal, they will only be able to view one, two, as well as three tabs. And this is, to obviously control the permissions as well as who needs to view what. Yeah, so regular employees will be able to see these three because this is what speaks unto them. So for instance, if I click on that onboarding over there, we've got all these different tabs on here, which all direct people to the various, spaces and platforms. Yeah, so for instance, this is part of the offering that KFC has for its employees. So when employees want to really go through, the culture training, they would then have to come on here, click on this, and then it would redirect them to a form where they would have to fill out their details. And once they filled out their details, HR will then obviously be able to go in and consolidate all the data that was put in, and then they'll be able to enroll these particular individuals for the culture training. So the name, surname, etc., going all the way down to submit. So this is basically one of those that we have here. And then moving right along again, the Vault is another platform that we have at KFC. Again, if they click on this, it will redirect them to a new page where they would have to go and do everything Vault related. But for the purpose of today's demo, I'm just going to give you guys some insights on, this new process that HR has, or rather is embarking on, which is to digitize, the whole onboarding process. So what would typically happen is, the HR super user, which would be the people's person, who's in charge of onboarding new employees. They would come in and they would click, on this particular tab over here. And then again, remember, HR is able to view all these tabs because they are super users of this particular application. So they would come in, click on this tab, and then it would bring them onto this particular page right here. And within this page, they would then have to, really capture, the details of each new joiner that's coming into the organization. Again, as you can see, everything at this point is very empty. You've got no's, you've got the due dates, because there's various tasks that need to be attended to and actioned by various stakeholders within the company. So, for instance, the petrol card and car insurance is something that payroll would have to take care of. The 3G, which is your SIM card that one gets within the company for internet connection when they work from home, is something that IT would have to organize. Likewise, laptops, cell phones, printers, etc. So what would happen here is once the HR super user goes in and enters all the details for the employee. So for instance, they will come in and they will say James Black, and then they will specify the position that James Black is going to take up within the company. And then there's various functions, obviously, within the back end that work with this, process. For instance, when it comes to the petrol card and car insurance, it is only employees that are a level 8 and above that qualify to get this particular item, and everyone else doesn't. So for instance, if you go in and you say level 5, as you can see, that hasn't changed. However, if you go in and you say a level 8, then you see automatically that the petrol card car insurance then changes to a yes, which then means the responsible person as well is automatically inserted in there as well. So when this is submitted, it will then disseminate emails to all those various stakeholders to action the various tasks within the cycle. Again, for the purposes of demonstrating, when one enters an ID number, it will automatically go in and capture the date of birth for that particular individual. We go in again, we enter a phone number, say this person is male. Again, the coach in our space is the manager of the individual. So immediately once you choose the manager of that particular individual, it will then go and populate the cost center that that particular individual belongs to, as well as the department that the person belongs to. And then we also have a field right here, which is a buddy field. This is basically a sort of peer helper or a person that will be able to assist you as a new joiner when you come into the company. They'll be able to guide you, show you around, introduce you to various people, and if ever you need anything, that person is the go-to person for you, that you would feel comfortable to speak to when you need something. So that's one of the things that we have at KFC. And then you would allocate that buddy for that particular person, and again we enter the surname, the email address. In this case, I'll just say maybe it's jamesb.com, and then the start date for that particular person, let's say it might be the 1st of July. So immediately once you enter the start date, it then goes and changes the due date for all these particular items, for all these particular people to go and action. And then you would choose the ethnic group as well. So just for the purpose of obviously demonstrating, I'm going to remove all of these and just allocate myself in there. because I don't really want all these emails to go out to all these particular individuals at this point. Um, and then I'll just remove all of them, and then all these emails, when they come through, they will come through to me, informing me that there's a new joiner coming in, and that I would need to go in and action all the items that really speak unto my department. So let me just remove all these names and just populate everything with my name. So remember, this is the function of the HR super user, right? No one else is able to do this. It's only HR and that one particular super user who's able to do this right here. And again, they would have gotten the details of the pen size of the individuals, because what KFC does is it also provides uniform to our employees. So we would have to also capture, those details for the uniforms that the individual is going to need. And then, so what would happen then, once we click the button, various emails would then, go out. So as you can see at the top, it says your request has been submitted. So that's just a notification to inform us that our new submission has gone in. And if you look over here, these are all the new joiners that have been added recently. Again, this is the one that we just added right now, which was James Black. And this particular person is starting on the 1st of July 2023. Again, if it may be that you feel you don't want to, sort of continue with this, maybe the person calls back and says, listen, guys, I'm no longer interested in joining the company. I won't, be joining anymore. One will then be able to also go in and delete this. And once they do delete, it will then also disseminate an email to inform all the various stakeholders that this particular person is no longer joining the company. But let's continue with our demonstration. So I will go to my emails so that I can show you guys the emails that will come in as a result of the new employee. Let's just give it a bit of time. I see there's a bit of a delay, and I suppose it's probably from the internet. But let's come back here in the meantime. So yes, I just received a notification now, so I suppose all the emails are then starting to come in. So this is the first email that has come in. So this is basically informing whoever's there to go in and action this particular task. And here it will inform the person. It will say hi to whoever needs to go and attend to that. Please note we have a new employee joining the RSC family. Please find below details and requirements needing your attention. James Black. Start date is that. Do they require a petrol card? Yes. Department they belong to. They'll give you the phone number, and then again, the email address is there for you if you need to communicate with this particular person directly. And then again, once you have completed your task, you then click on this onboarding task link, which will then direct you back to the app, or rather direct you as a stakeholder to the app. And then the only thing that you would be able to view again when it comes to the tabs is only 1, 2, 3, and 4 tabs, and everything else here is hidden to any other user except for the HR super user. So one would then be able to come onto here, they would go and say view task, and then they would be able to view everything that has been assigned to them. So for instance, James Black still has a status of pending in there. So one would go in, click on that, and then it would bring them to a page where they are able to view all the details that were captured for this particular new joiner. And then they would then be able to come onto this, page where they then need to come in and complete to indicate whether they've, attended to each task that has been assigned to them. So again, if you're the logged in person and you're the responsible person for this particular task, then you would get a box. This combo box would be highlighted for you, to attend to. So in this case, I'll go in and I'll say complete. I see a 3G card. I need to organize a 3G card for this new employee. I would then have to come in again and click on complete for that. And again, as you can see over here, we've got a different responsible person for the laptop. So here, it won't allow me to come and change the status whatsoever. So whoever this is that needs to come and action this task, will be able to come in, and it will only be able, or rather enabled for them to do so. So for me, I can come in and I'll say all these that I needed to complete, I've completed, and I am ready for the new joiner to come in on the 1st of July. And this therefore means HR will then be able to also track, because they'll be able to log in and to track to see how far a particular joiner is. So by coming in, viewing task, to check, has Lukanyiso Machoba, who has been assigned to do this for the new joiner, have they completed? Yes, they've completed, as you can see over there, and you can see Kabelo Kube still needs to attend to making sure that he gets the laptop ready for the new joiner, etc., etc. So what this means is that there will no longer be back and forth in terms of emails to check up on individuals to see whether they've actioned certain tasks that they need to action. The HR will have the autonomy to basically just come onto their app and to be able to view each and every task for each and every individual that needs to go in and attend to those. And again, with the offboarding process, it's the same again. One will be able to come onto here, and then they will then be able to trickle down. Let's say maybe a Cindy is going to leave the company. One will be able to search for that particular person. They click on that person's name, and then it will automatically populate all these different fields for that person to give all the details for each individual. And again, it follows the same onboarding process where one, would have to, which would be the HR super user, right? The HR super user would then dictate that, the due date for this to be action would be on that date, and the responsible, yet again, person would be Lukanyiso Machoba, and then it would do the same. Because remember, on the offboarding process, again, there's a process where the employee needs to bring back the laptops, they need to bring back the cell phones, the petrol cards, access tags, etc., etc. So there's different individuals that also need to ensure that within that process, all these, old, joiners that are going out the company deliver all their items on time before they leave. And again, when you say submit, it will then also disseminate emails, going out to all the various stakeholders that need to go and action each task. And then from there, Bob's your uncle. So that's just a quick demonstration of one of the innovative tools that I've created thus far. Again, as I explained earlier, all the data that we collect from this particular app will be able to go in and build a report, which I have started building already. See if I can find it here. What did I call my oh yeah, human resource dashboard. So the dashboard that I'm building, obviously, and I'm still engaging with HR in terms of, what it is that they want to view within this, particular data, and it's still, work in progress. But this is the nice, stuff that we're doing with the power platforms, environment. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to give me a call. And then, yeah, we can definitely chat about it. So again, this is the dashboard, that I've built. This is basically just going to give you, all the info in terms of, let's say, how many, males were employed within a certain period. Again, you've got the date filter at the top over there where you can come in and you can change the data. It will tell you how many are female. It will give you, all sorts of different stats. But I haven't received any briefing as yet in terms of what it is that they want to see. But this is just an example of some of the, innovative things that we're doing within our space. Thank you so much for your time.